So, welcome back. We are sorry that our schedule are expanding, being off from that we have been sending, but because this is the living situation here, so we will broadcast then when we have the possibility. But anyway, welcome to all of you who are there. Toivotamme kaikki tervetulleeksi, jotka nyt ovat läsnä. Anteeksi, että meidän aikataulut ovat viivästyneitä, mutta me elämme tätä elävää hetkeä täällä ja sen mukaisesti lähettelemme, kun meille on mahdollista. So we have been talking about second initiation, and the symbol when we think about mythology and the labors of Hercules, the labors of Scorpio is the most what would we say, example work or labor for the second initiation. And when we talk about these, in the mythology we will find constellation Andromeda, which is very much related to that same thing, but we will go later into that. I was thinking that because the fixed cross is for us very important. We have been symbolically moving upon the fixed cross in our group. We were studying the way that we symbolically started with the movement upon the mutual cross, but now we are thinking about moving towards the fixed cross. And let us study a little bit fixed cross, because the Scorpio is found upon the fixed cross. Michael, what is the real, the technical moment when we are moving upon the fixed cross in the life of disciples?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The moment is when we are born in Pisces or under Pisces and have finished preparation and are about to take the first initiation. Enter the Hall of Wisdom, enter the fifth kingdom of nature, and become a true disciple. That's when we really enter the fixed cross. Up to that time, there may be many struggles in the latter part of the mutable cross, and we are simply an aspirant. But a fixed cross is the cross of the soul, the cross of discipleship, and the soul becomes a real objective by whatever name we call it. It might be called God, it might be called the higher power, it might be called the soul or the holy guardian angel, whatever. We are taking the first initiation or are in that area when we truly are on the fixed cross.
Right. So let us read a little what Tibetan or Alice has been writing. This is coming from the Bethlehem to Calvary. Upon this fixed cross, all the world saviors, not excepting the Christ of the West, have been eternally crucified, as reminders to man of the divine intent based upon the divine sacrifice. And you were talking about the sacrifice.
Yes, it is a sacrificial cross. Here are four things you should remember. Blinding light, Taurus. Fiery pain, Leo. Bitter woe, Scorpio. Liberation, Aquarius. Those are keynotes of the fixed cross, and unless you're a disciple, you're not going to undergo those things in any consistent manner.
Right. So we are in the arm of the bull at the moment, the blinding light. So from the beginning of humanity, this is very interesting, the cross or man, with arms stretched out horizontally, the fixed cross, typifying his cosmic origin, was connected with his psychic nature and his struggles which led to initiation. What do we mean typifying his cosmic origin? with arms stretched out horizontally, typifying his cosmic origin.
Well, I would say that when you are becoming a soul, which is an extension of the monad, which is an extension of the planetary logos, which is an extension of the solar logos, it's all cosmic. It's coming from elsewhere than just the earth. The true monad is not born of the earthly elements. So in fact, the fixed cross brings into power those parts of ourself which are not elemental and which come already from other planets and other stars and other systems. Cosmic origin.
Oh, by the way, this is coming from the secret doctrine. So we should read what she has been writing before that, because it's really interesting statement. So Enoch, the type of the dual nature of man, this is continuation from that, of man's spiritual and physical, occupies the center of the astronomic cross, which is a six-pointed star. Aha, now she is telling that. In the upper angle of the upper triangle is the eagle, Scorpio. In the left lower angle stands the lion, Leo. And let us remember, these are the archangels. So the Ariel, the lion-headed angel, is about this angel, what we are talking, the Lion of God. In the left lower angle stands the lion, Leo. In the right, the bull, Taurus. While between the bull and the lion is the face of Enoch, the man, Aquarius.
Yes, there are different arrangements.
Yes,
These
they are all
the time.
They're all over, but this is from Blavatsky.
Yeah. Well, Uriel,
There are four.
Uriel is Taurus.
Right. So Ariel is also.
I'm sorry, dear.
Ariel is in some of the scriptures related to Uriel, but and that was the angle of. It was related to life, but then he is very much related to Raphael in that healing aspect, but in healing in relationship to death. So when we think about the death in Leo, so that is this activity of which is already those deaths which are releasing human from the cycles of rebirth. Yes, Michael, you wanted to say something.
Well, I was just going to say now, interesting about Gabriel, he's the one who came to Mary and the shepherds, and he's Scorpio, and Mercury is the highest planet in Scorpio, the messenger.
Why you are saying Gabriel is
because that's the way it's sometimes assigned. Michael is given Leo, but other names too, and Raphael is assigned to Aquarius, the healing energy. So there are different ways of doing it.
Right. I was thinking because Blavatsky is saying Michael being the Saturn, and we are having the Michael's day on.
It's true Libra.
In Libran energy, and that the Saturn is the highest ruler. So Gabriel is appearing in two of the stories, in the winter, in the Capricorn, when he is announcing to folks and the shepherds that Christ has been born, or the King has been born, and then he is coming in Aries, where he is telling. Oh, actually, it's also like Pisces. But he's announcing that moment when the fertilization has happened, that the baby is going to be born, and he is asking from Mary, does Mary accept her work. So it's a very mysterious thing in that Gabriel is like in the both things in Aries and Capricorn. And Deepitan says that Aries turns towards Capricorn. So there is this, in the mystery of the soul, Aries and Capricorn are related to each other. So anyway, this whole story, I'm sorry, whole story of the archangels, it is so complicated. I have been studying this now over 30 years, and I just cannot make sense everything to because human mind tried to make logical structures, and the Devic world is not according to our logic. It's not linear. It's something else. There are some other laws involved, and that's why it's so difficult to just put something and it would be staying in the box. It will not, and it is difficult for human mind to trying to understand. First of all, one sees when you study, one sees that all of our categories must be elaborated. They are not giving the real understanding at all. Like the archangel is one of those names.
Yeah, I mean, Blavatsky makes the archangels planetary.
That's right.
But there are other categories of archangels and so forth.
That's right.
So for myself, I just say there are different interpretations
Yes, there
of
are.
these assignments.
A lot of different interpretations.
And I don't try to make one of them, at this point of my ignorance or knowledge, the absolute correct one.
Yeah. Yeah. For instance, the order of those what Blavatsky is saying is about that the mystery. You will see all kinds of ways arrangement of. By the way, this is alarm, wakening up us to this. That at 12 o'clock we will sound the great invocation according to our sacred pentagram approach to full moon. So maybe we will now. We have 4 minutes, but it is not so a horrible crime if we are just starting it now. So take a position, and you too at homes. So we will align with this coming full moon energies, and we must remember that this Leo full moon, what is said by a Tibetan, that this celebration will be most potent in the future for humanity. And as you hear there, maybe you are hearing the dogs barking, and the Sirius is the dog star, so the dog is making himself sounded. Do we hear that?
I can't tell, but it's okay.
Okay.
Whichever,
Maybe it is not catching
it's
to
okay.
your... Yes.
And I don't have the great invocation here
It doesn't matter.
on this one.
No, we know that.
Okay.
So we also have a very strong relationship with the group, with the sisters and brothers of Blue Rose. And also remind yourself with your Blue Rose triangle. I have been sending this, and I was sending again to all of us. So how do you find your triangle? Is the horizontal line. Find your name in that paper, and then these 2 other names belong to your triangle, and this is the triangle of will. We have experiment with this. So we could sound 108 times our name, but we sound once our sacred name. and you align with that energy of your name, the antidote that you are bringing to the world. We align with this five-fold pattern of Venus, which is the sacred dance of Lakshmi in the skies. Visualize the rose, five-petaled rose or five-pointed star, the pentagram, having the blue rose in the center of it. And we will sound the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of man, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And within your mind and heart, we bless the sisters and the brothers. And thank you. And next time we will do that at 5 p.m. Finnish time. So it happened to be then 2 p.m. GMT. So whatever time it is then in the world, but you in other countries and time zones you could do that at 12 in the morning, at 12 and 5 and in the evening. So we will go further in this where we are here. So now we will go through some of the arms or the arms of the fixed cross. And sorry, it's the order is wrong. We should have been starting with Taurus, but now there seems to be Aquarius light. Aquarius, as you know, is one of the arms of the fixed cross. The cross is outstandingly the cross of discipleship and all the three major initiations in connection with which it might be pointed out that. So let us see, are they really in order? Maybe they are. Okay. In Taurus, desire is transmuted into aspiration. And this movement actually is so important, what Tige is talking about, when the change of the desire is transformed into aspiration. He talks all the time about that I really didn't realize it is so mundane thing that we would not really get it, but aspiration is that what has to be born in the human being, because the aspiration of us is giving, first of all, it is generating the energy of the soul into the lower system. We nurture our lower lives, and it is making us moving forward. We are aspiring, and the movement starts to be along the mountain. It's not going along the valley. Aspiration starts to take us into the higher, first the higher astral plane energies, and that's why it is ascending us, and it is taking us to the goal on the mountaintop. Darkness gives place to light, and illumination, the eye of the bull, is opened, which is the spiritual third eye, or the single eye of the New Testament. If thine eye be single, said the Christ, thy whole body shall be full of light. And think about of this secrecy, what is related to the eye. Well, the eye is opening. What does it mean when the eye is opening within us? So important thing related to the second degree. Yes? Do you have any ideas? Mitä? What did you say? You can see. That is very good reasoning.
Eye,
yes.
You know, it's the eye of Shiva is that area in the middle of the etheric brain, right? And when you have the head center, the ajna center, and the alta major center really, really circulating, that eye emerges. And from the time of the first initiation, that eye is being built up. That shocked me. But it's slowly, slowly being built up so that by the time we reach the third degree, it really comes into effect.
So, yes, did you want to say something? Certainly related to that, yeah.
To what?
To intuition.
Yes, seeing things whole, beyond the pairs of opposites. Seeing opposites as part of the same thing. That is, what the third eye can do.
Right, and when we think about yesterday, we were looking about Durga and her three eyes. I was just thinking, is there a difference about the third eye really in the center of the head center, and then the eye, the ajna center?
Yeah, there is.
I think ajna is still horizontal, and the real third eye is the vertical. So it makes the cross in the forehead. And if you think about the Hindu mythology, you see this cross marked on the forehead. And sometimes the baptism is also done the way that it is on the forehead. So there is some kind of seal that how the eye is functioning, that the eye should never look the evil. The eye should always turn towards the God. The single eye takes the place of the two eyes of the personal self. The self is missing from your slide. The attention of the man becomes focused upon spiritual attainment. Treads. Let me see, are there still some words missing? Because, yes, there are. I was taking this from my old slides, and when I was transmitting them into these slides, so they become black. The text disappears, and so you couldn't see. So anyway, there is still missing a few words. The attention of the man becomes focused upon spiritual attainment. He treads the path of discipleship. So when we think about these initiations, now the second initiation is really the threshold initiation. When we think about the first initiation, the Holy Spirit is so strong. When you think about the birth, and try to imagine how is the atmosphere if there has not been anything drastic going on, but how is the atmosphere near the baby? Silence, pure, holy, joyful, There's something which is so, so sweet. And there you see that, so the labor of the birth has been gone through, but this what is after that is something, it is such a turning point in human life. But then when we think about second decree, the second decree has so deep issues from the past, from this struggle and tests and trials and everything. So it is like that what is after second decree is like complete exhaustion. And that's why, as Tibetan says, many people think that they are going through the fourth decree because it is so difficult. Our emotions are involved, and because we are so emotionally polarized, a little bit pressure upon our emotions makes us scatter in our mind all of the places, and we are screaming and yelling and escaping and trying to do all we can not to have this process on. But after that process has been experienced, then one would never ever want to change it. One would never ever want to give it away. It is something what must be done. So then the Leo arm. By the way, I have to now really speed up that we can go through this. In Leo, the self-centered man becomes eventually the soul in life expression and focused on the achievement of the spiritual goal of selflessness. And we yesterday we were talking about the Leo states. It is the most important states. The selfish, horrible, looking only one's own navel, being the center of the world. It is disgusting for the others, but that point has to be reached, because in Leo we finalize the center within, which is very much around the mental unit. It has to become so strong that it can stand now the weight of the soul, the light, the weight of the light of the soul, all of that pressure what comes. We will talk about more that also in the third initiation, but again a point to that everywhere we see those people, try to stand that, because this is important stage, but it should not continue too long. It cannot continue lives and lives and lives. Then the man becomes the monster. Then the man becomes the old king. The person who is what is that word in English? Tyranny in Finnish. Tyrant. Tyrant. Yes. Then he becomes tyrant to everybody, and that should be stopped. In this sign he undergoes preparation for the first initiation and takes it also in this sign, or under this sign, when it is the sign, rising sign, becoming the lion who seeks his prey. That is the personality who becomes the captive of the soul. So that is the state we try to have, that we are hunting ourselves. We are smart for our lies and escapes, and we don't get any single thing escape from the eye of the soul. Then in Scorpio, in this sign the disciple undergoes those tests which will enable him to take second initiation and demonstrate that the desire nature is subdued and conquered, and that the lower nature is, by being lifted up in the air into heaven, capable of reaching the goal for this world period, and that from the earthly foundation of Scorpio the personality can be tested, that it shows fitness for the world service demanded in Aquarius. This is beautifully expressed for us in the legend of Hercules, the sun god who overcomes the 9-headed hydra or serpent of desire by being forced to his knees. And from that position of humility lifts up the serpent into the air, and then deliverance comes. This is important for us to remember. There are many Scorpio people who have these great talents and qualities, but you can see that the humility has been not growing. Only then, when in Scorpio the humility has taken over and the disciple is on his knees, then they are ready. Then we are ready to the 3rd degree in Capricorn. On our knees we have to crawl the last part of the mountain. In Aquarius, in this sign, the long effort of the soul. Have you changed that?
I've got it.
Okay. In Aquarius, in this sign, the long effort of the soul is consummated and concludes the experience of the disciple upon the fixed cross. The man then takes the 3rd initiation and becomes free from personality control to the next 2 initiations upon the cardinal cross. Well, literally it is said that from the 3rd degree on we step into the no man's land. It's not in fixed cross, it's not yet in the cardinal cross. But well, the crosses are difficult for us to understand, but what I have been translating to myself, that these crosses, they are not appearing on physical plane. They are some of these energetic alignments which makes like the cross. These elements of the 4 elements, the fire, the water, earth and fire, the air, are coming and pulling you to all of these directions. That is like the pulling apart. But then upon the cross we always have to find the center, that we can come into the center and take these energies and we hold them in our own spiritual power. Personality cannot hold. The personality is the foundation, or we can say that even that the personality is the wooden cross. But the soul has to grow within, so that the soul can hold these pulling all directions. And that's why the silence is so important, because in the silence we hold these 4. In Aquarius, did I read that? Oh, there is 2 times in different images. Okay. So you can choose that which image you like that. Well, that is very interesting, this the second image. Maybe I have been forgetting to just take. There is in the center, you see the white horse standing there, the purified personality. One of the symbols of the Christ. And this cross is also called the cross of the Christ. So I think I will... Shall I escape? Oh no, I will read this, but I just read, I don't comment. Or if Michael, you want to comment. So let us see, can we keep our mouths shut? Until the significance of the 3 crosses is understood more fully and synthetically by astrologers and astrological investigators, it is almost impossible to find the needed words which will convey clearly the intended meaning. There has been no real attempt as yet on the part of astrologers, even the most advanced ones, to arrive at a general or synthetic understanding of the effect of the cross upon humanity. All that has as yet been conveyed is the effect of the one arm of the cross upon the subject born in a particular sign. But there is a fusion of energies to be noted when, esoterically speaking, man stands at the midway point where the four energies meet. The man whose sun sign is in Gemini, for instance, is subjected to the forces flowing through the cross as whole, unless he is a very low-grade human being. He will be sensitive to the influences of the other three signs when they sweep into power as the lesser zodiac or the year plays its part. We must remember that. Later, when the practical value of esoteric astrology is better understood, men will avail themselves of the three energies of the three other signs of the cross in which the sun sign finds a place.
So, if I can just say something.
Okay.
That's an exercise which we should try.
Yeah.
Namely, let's see, if you're born in Capricorn, you just go on that cross and say, how do these other three arms really affect me, and when? And
that is the thing what I have tried to express many times about that when we have whatever time, let's say the full moon, the whole cross is activated, and we should look, for instance, what kind of transits are going on in these signs which is upon that cross. Also, we should in ourselves be understanding the crosses, because the soul works via the cross all the time. We should be aware of the opposing sign, because that is only one sign, to learn to make synthesis. Yes, right. This is a future development of the science of esoteric astrology, putting it into the simplest terms and thereby necessarily limiting significances. A man will endeavor, when in Sagittarius, to practice one-pointedness along one line. When in Virgo, he will know that opportunity to bring the form more under the influence of the hidden Christ is possible, and that in Pisces, sensitivity to the higher impression is his right and privilege. All these four possibilities in regard to the advanced initiate are beautifully demonstrated for us in the life of Jesus, the master of the sixth ray. The three crosses of the Mount of Golgotha were biblical symbols of these three astrological crosses: the common or mutable cross, the fixed cross, and the cardinal cross. Jesus and the two thieves. Jesus, the Christ, cardinal cross, the Spirit. The regretting soul, fixed cross, the soul. The bright soul, mutable cross, personality. The cross is the symbol of victory and of forgiveness, telling about our karmic depths in one sense, but also our karmic gifts. Upon the cross, time and space, the soul, the consciousness, is crucified. So they are all these crosses, because mostly first it is related us into the karma. So study these crosses, in which rooms they are appearing, houses. We say rooms in Finnish, sorry. So in which houses the cross is appearing. In that area of life, you have these tests going on, but you have also your karmic gifts there. It's all great art of energies, how the soul is putting us into particular place, because also this your connection to the soul of that nation gives a huge thing. The background, the group that we are together in our work, in the plural sisters. That's why I have not been getting into this. We are planning with Michael to have these educational webinars to give more background about that. But these ideas have been put there, that we were in this mutable cross. You didn't even see that you were left alone as it is in the world, and now we are coming to the cross of disciple, and we are getting more and more understanding. And then when we are symbolically moving to the cardinal cross, when we start to work, it's only symbolic work with the spirit, but that is coming then after 3 years from now. Did you want to ask? You remember these two thieves beside him when he was on the cross. So the other one is mocking him. If you are the Son of God, release yourself and so forth. And the other regretting soul or repenting soul, man is, what is that, saying to the oh, I'm sorry, this... Yes, but the words I'm trying to find, that he is ordering the other thief not to mock Christ. Don't you see who he is? And then he says, forgive me and remember me when you are in heaven. And do you remember what Christ said? Sorry?
Today you'll be with me.
Yes, today you are with me in that dinner table or lunch table, how it is called.
I thought it's even today you shall be with me in heaven.
In heaven, that's
Yeah.
right, on that communion table, because
really?
that
Okay.
is the very
remember that
important
one.
part of it, because the communion, as said, it wasn't earlier. It's only now for humanity the possibility to be in communion with the great ones, with the Christ, really livingly at the same table. And what is said about the communion, that in the future, all these little communions what we have, but in the future we are going to be literally with the Christ, that the Christ himself is pouring out this living essence through his heart to us in that communion table. And that is what he meant, that even today you are with me in heaven at that table. And that was the mark from Christ when was Thursday, the day of
Maundy Thursday.
Maundy
the
Thursday.
Good,
The
Last Supper.
The Last
day,
Supper is about that the symbolism for the new world is starting. The Last Supper of the old world was happening. Well, now I am now coming to this point of the mythology, and when we think about mythologically, we know about the signs that we can think about the second initiation. But what are then these in the mythology? What are those things where we can think about second initiation? Andromeda is certainly one. It can be even looked really high, I think. It can be looked even the fourth degree. But there are always aspects that we can think about. Then there is a one thing what I forgot to put here is about the Coma Berenice, the hair of the princess, where when we think about the sacrifices will go on now in all of these labors, but they have the deeper and deeper meanings. The hair, I think I will take that with the third degree because it's a head. But and also these stories, I was thinking, I tried to find where we have women involved. So that's why we have the Andromeda here. And going to these stories, this is rather complicated story. So we have to look actually Pisces, Aquarius. There is Pegasus. Then we have to look Pisces, which is here. We look Andromeda and Cepheus. We have to consider the band, of course. Then also we consider the Ares, where we find the Cetus itself, and then we find Cassiopeia and Perseus. So it's like these three signs happening. So we go back, Michael, to this Pisces image and talk a little bit. So there is a story. I try to be brief now. The story which is telling about the country whose king is Cepheus and the wife is what is found on the second decade in Aries, Cassiopeia. They are the wife and husband. And their daughter, found in the second decade of Pisces, is Andromeda. And also Pegasus. Now, Michael, you have to go back and forth now with this. Pegasus, just go forward. Pegasus is found in the second decade of Aquarius. So you see that the second decade is very important when we think about the second initiation. Yesterday we were talking about the first decades, and today we will think about the second decade. It is absolutely literal. The initiation can be going in whatever decade. But when in principle, if you think about three, which are the most important, the human evolution, to gain them and go through, that the changes would happen, they are like 1, 2, 3 decades. So this Pisces, Michael, Pisces, 2 steps backwards now.
Oh, yes.
Where did you be?
I was riding a horse in the sky.
Right. So go backwards. So we will look so Cepheus is the Redeemer King, the coming ruler in the future. It is looked that this Cepheus has the aspects in the life of Christ as well. But then Andromeda is the daughter, and she is chained. So the mother, Cassiopeia, is upon the throne. It is also telling. Do you have Aries now?
I have it now.
Yeah, the Cassiopeia is upon the throne. It can indicate also that the person is very bound to material things. The matter mother rules. But in the higher sense, there is coming the wise woman who is upon the throne and giving wise orders. Then Cetus, the first decade, is the monster, the sea monster, of the being who is called, well, first in some of the myths, he is belonging to Hades, to the Pluto. Then to some stories he belongs to Poseidon, which is then Neptune. And in some of the stories he has very near relationship with Nereus, the sea god. And where did you meet Nereus? In the labors of Gemini. Mm-hmm. And that is so interesting because there are those aspects. He has the form of a serpent. And he is the sea, the astral being. So you see that when Nereus is appearing in the work and labor of Hercules, it is the astral aspect of the soul. Because Nereus is coming in the form of the teacher, but Hercules does not recognize him. Difficult to understand, yes, but we have to always see that these aspects, how they are playing in the life of these myths, because it's not ever straight, as I was saying earlier. It's our human logic tries to make everything very straight and bang, 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 bang in order. But because we are living the mysteries of the soul, so Nereus narrates the water beings, the water spirits, and I will talk later about them. And then Perseus is the one type of the heroes. We find them in the third decades. In Hercules is one of the hero. We find in Virgo, we find the
Centaur.
No. It's like Centaur is the second, but then the Boetes.
Boetes.
We find Ophiuchus, which is like between the Sagittarius and the Scorpio, the 13th sign. Then we could think, the king, Cepheus is one type of hero. So we have those heroes also hidden behind the zodiac, and we should study them. But now we will go again, Pegasus. The birth of Pegasus is very interesting. I will tell you a little bit later. Here, Medusa belongs to this story as well. So Medusa was one of the maidens of Gorgons who was very beautiful. It is made very ugly in some of the stories, but it is not the whole story. Medusa was betrayed, badly betrayed, and that's why she became revengeous. And the snakes, there is a curse, what was coming from Hera, so from the soul, that she got these serpents, her hair changed serpents. And in this case, it is indicating bad negative thoughts, the concrete mind. But the serpent head can be also when the serpents go upwards, then the head is the wisdom head. But Gorgon, Medusa, is indicating, and I like this because she has now the wings. She was belonging those virgins who has the connection to the winged world, to angels. But anyway, she had the power that whomever was looking at him, the concrete mind, she was making everything as a stone, freezing it. So that's why Perseus comes along, and Perseus needed to release from Gorgon's curses, and so he went and did this work of cutting the head of Medusa. And when the blood was dropping in the water, this is one of the stories, Pegasus rose. So it is like Perseus is indicating that hero in us when we are cutting the head of the concrete mind. Then the real Medusa, who is Pegasus, is rising to the heaven as a white horse, meaning that the white horse is the purified personality, purified mind. The winged horse, when we have the white horse, it is a purified personality. When we have the winged horse, it's like the purified mind, illumined mind. And now Perseus, because Perseus, all of these aspects can be looked like the battle of the struggle of one entity. So as a Perseus, he was able to cut the curse of the concrete mind in himself, or kama-manasic mind in himself. And that's why he was able to gain the vehicle, the white horse, the winged horse for himself, that he was able to fly now. And it is telling about this Buddhic world. When we fly into the air, into the Buddhic world. so in one sense, Perseus' story is telling about the third decree.
Do you have with Perseus the idea that he used his shield as a mirror?
That's right.
Yeah.
Vulcan, purified matter.
So he didn't dare look at Medusa directly.
You couldn't.
Yeah.
That was the thing that
Yeah.
when he had the shield from Vulcan, what was shimmered and polished, it was totally shining, so everything was reflected from it. It is when we can reflect, the soul can reflect the lower world. So it's like the soul tool. So only via the illumined mind, when he was looking the reflection, and when Medusa was coming closer, he cut the head of Medusa. And this is interesting, the desires are very often placed on the neck, what we can see in the Taurus, the Taurian desires, which are related very much to sexual desires. So we have to cut the head of the sexual desires, so that there is. We know about the story. If one is using too much sexual power, and especially men, they become dull. So there is this flying joke going that the head is between the legs. So the head has to be on the top of the shoulders. I don't know, do any brothers know that, but that is a flying.
We'll get together and discuss it.
Yes. But anyway, so he is the symbolism for that, how we are able to cut these lower desires within us, and we are using the soul power in us, the shield that can be reflected the lower world and cut the power of the lower world. But the story of the Medusa is the worthwhile of, and I will do some investigation for that, because in my opinion it is giving us a lot of understanding how the personality evil is growing. There has been always a hurt first. So we, in some writings, Tibetan is beautifully writing about personality, that which is the longest with the soul, and standing longest with the soul, and soul needs personality. As we tomorrow will talk about the lion, which is underneath you. Okay, so now we go to the story of Andromeda. Andromeda is chained because the mother, Cassiopeia, declares that Andromeda is the most beautiful creature. This is really crazy, this whole story. I don't know, when you think about this, that then the narrates the beautiful sea spirits, and also the king Nereus, or also Poseidon, becomes angry that it's not correct. Andromeda is not the most beautiful creature, and that's why they got angry, and they sent the monster, the sea monster. Michael, can you put the next image? The sea monster torturing that village or that city. And then Father Cepheus is talking with one of the oracles, having the negotiation for that what could be done, because the sea monster was eating the people from the city, and the Apollo tells that the only way is to sacrifice Andromeda. So sacrifice here, sent by the sun. It's not only the soul, it's the spirit who is demanding the balance. So this story of the beauty must it has to be interpreted some other senses or other sense, because it does not make any sense that it would be coming because of that so horrible sacrifice. And so, because the mother and the father, Cassiopeia and Cepheus, does not find any solution, so that's why Andromeda is bound into the chain, to given to this sea monster to be eating Andromeda, like the Hydra is threatening the whole surrounding and is eating the all who is nearing to his nest. But then Perseus is going by, and he is immediately falling in love with Andromeda. And he wants to save Andromeda. Here we see two images, Michael, this one.
Yes, I have that.
And then the next one.
Yes.
Do you see like the Perseus is like falling? So this is again phenomenon of the falling angels. They fall into the matter. So Perseus has very many aspects in its story. So he is flying with the Pegasus, the purified vehicle. But then he is jumping from the horse into the sea. So it's like the solar angel has to jump also into the matter, into the astrality of the matter. And so Perseus is going to kill the monster, and then Andromeda is redeemed. But there is because still in this image, Michael, where we have So here you see Andromeda, who is angry because he was chained by the Nereids. The
Nereids.
Nereids.
Yeah, Nereids.
Nereids.
Whatever.
How do you say that?
Nereids.
Nereids.
Yeah.
Nereids. Okay, Nereids.
Sea,
they are like a sea
spirits.
How do you say that the one who has the fish?
Mermaids.
Mermaids. They are like mermaids.
But not in this painting.
No, they in this they have legs. They are like more near humans than mermaids, and they belong to the workers of the Nereus, the king of Nereus. Oh, actually, they are the nymphs of the waters.
Water.
And they were the daughters of Nereus. But they were often accompanying Poseidon, the Neptune. So they chained Andromeda. And what could that? It's like some kind of karmic workers who come and do their work, because they just have to do something. So in second initiation, oh gosh, I'm sorry the time. In second initiation, this chaining comes. You are chained with your past. You are chained into the astral waters, where this monster is coming up.
Well, you might say the chains of desire.
Chains of desire, yes.
It always we refer to it.
Yeah,
the soul has fallen here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's like the soul, if you think about the soul is powerless here. Yeah. The soul has to just accept what the personality is doing. So in that sense, the soul is chained. And then we need Perseus, which is the aspect of the freed soul, who comes for aid and the power of the mind, when the same way as in the work of or the labor of Scorpio, where the Hercules is laying himself on his knees, and then he is able to lift the Hydra. The same way that the Perseus is falling, is shooting into the sea and kills the from the air. He is coming from the air, and in the same principle. So always in the second initiation, the victory will lay there when we fall on our knees and we lift this hydra into the air, so that the soul life can squeeze it or kill it, because it does not have any root to live anymore there. So and this story have this happy ending. They are married, Perseus and Andromeda. So the personality and the soul becomes now one in marriage, via the marriage that is the sacred marriage. There are other stories about their lives. There comes other challenges, but we are not going to them in at the moment, because we have to finish here about this second initiation. But the point about second initiation is that when we are going through it, there are aspects of that we are sacrificed. We are going to be sacrificed by the group. We are chained. We must be chained. We have to find the way for the mind, for the illumined mind. And from the point of the mind, we are getting our release. And then, like in the third decree, the union, the marriage is there. Like the carrot for us, that remember, if you go through this, then you are going to get this beautiful marriage. So we have the happy ending to this story.
There's two aspects here. One is the soul in incarnation,
right?
And sometimes I think Andromeda is very much that. And then the soul on its own plane, the solar angel, whatever, who intervenes and withdraws the soul and incarnation from involvement with the elements and the elementals. In other words, it's so easy down here in our soul and incarnation consciousness to be trapped by everything that's going around us.
Right.
But some higher part of ourself lifts us out of that.
Right. And when we think about Cetus, it's all of those which has the root in the waters, in the astral plane, they are very, very difficult to handle. They are so powerful, and they empower everything first. If we do not gain the power of the soul in the mind, so that we can see through and we can use the skills and use these methods which are only going to give for us the victory. We cannot paddle on the same level. That is the knowledge of all of this. We have to paddle on the higher level in order to win. So, do you have any questions? Okay. Can we have one? Okay, you will do the study. Okay. Do you have any comments, Michael?
Well, it's just what I'm trying to do is to see who is what.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we know from occultism the different parts of ourselves that are in prison, that are liberated. In a way, Cepheus is even the monad in a certain sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he sends his bargains to send his daughter down into the lower worlds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Perseus has fallen from heaven as a hero. What is he? He's got higher powers. And yet, he's in the Mars decanate.
Mm-hmm.
So Mars is a non-sacred planet, but nevertheless...
Yeah, but this I'm understanding all of that we should not be shocked or scared about these so-called unsacredness or whatever, because that is our job, to make everything sacred. So if you think about the last sign, Pisces, we are ending up with the Pluto as the ruler, unsacred planets. planet 2 times on the esoteric and hierarchical level. So we end into unsacredness. So it is in the life of the soul or in the life of the spirit, all of those are just some kind of means how to function, what to do. And they are not in that sense like we have this black and white, good or bad. Everything is always good. It just depends on what methods we are using. And when we are studying, the mythology is in that sense fantastic area, because you have to just let your mind connect things. There are so many aspects, and that's why mythology is giving you so much understanding about how these energies are functioning here, how they are working, how they are, what they are trying to tell us, and what is the good method to function here, and make the plans in that sense, and where they are related to, because they are not necessarily related to in a row, in the horizontal row, but in that sense it was between these signs of Aquarius, Pisces and Aries. So what did you say? Who? Työt. Ne varmaan on. Voi olla. En ole. Mä luulen on. So do we have the labors of Hercules on the Moria Federation?
BL is doing a lot of work with the labors of Hercules, and it's on some of our videos.
Yes, they are. And I am planning to do now for our group for these, to go through it. No, anyway, we are 25 minutes late, and so let us see when we are starting. I think we will give a little bit more time for you than starting at 2. What do you think, Michael?
Yes, it's okay with me.
So let us come back 2:15. 2:15. Can you, Michael, make a note for people that 2:15?
Yes, I will in just a moment.
Okay. So anyway, if there are anybody listening us, we are very grateful that you were with us. Jos siellä on ketään, jotka on siellä kotona, olette kuunnelleet meitä, olemme iloisia siitä. So we will come back 2:15, so it is 11:15 a.m. GMT. Ja tulemme takaisin 2:15 Suomen aikaa. Thank you very much. Kiitos paljon. Bye bye.